It had been nearly 2 years since Link, Watto, and the people of Hyrule defeated Ganon and his evil army on Death Mountain. After the battle, the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power were used to bring Zelda, the Princess of Hyrule, back to life. When the kingdom and its people were liberated from Ganon's forces, peace and prosperity returned to the land, thanks to the powers of the Triforces being restored. But soon after normalcy had returned, things turned dark once again. Heavy rains swept the lands. Farms withered and died. The people of Hyrule feared that though Ganon had been slain, he was somehow the root cause of this plight, and that his army would soon return. One stormy night at the castle, Princess Zelda's servants tried to console her and get her to eat something for her own well-being, but Zelda couldn't. She knew well what the hand of Ganon felt like, and was frightened beyond consolation. Her servants couldn't understand. With both Triforces safely under Zelda's watch, they wondered what could disturb the peace in Hyrule. Watto also tried to cheer up Zelda by reminding her that Link would soon be here to investigate the problem and help however he can. But with those words, a sudden crash is heard, and moblins storm the castle, entering Zelda's chamber. Zelda's bodyguard, Billy, who helped Link rescue Zelda from Ganon, rushes to the scene. But there are just too many thugs to fight off. Another man arrives to help fight them off. He disarms them, and for one moblin, delivers a critical hit, causing them to retreat. The fighter, though, is mysterious and not known. When Watto asks who he is, he takes off his hood to reveal his identity. Link. It had been a good long while since Link, Watto, and Zelda were together, and they celebrated their reunion. It is short-lived, however, as Link mentions the troubles befalling Hyrule for his return. Link also tells Zelda he has come to inquire about a mark that has appeared on his hand, the Imperial Seal of Hyrule. The shock is so intense for Zelda that she faints immediately. When Zelda awakens, she tells Link that an ancient prophecy is now coming true. She takes Link to the deepest catacombs of Hyrule Castle and says that this door cannot be opened by any key. The only thing that can open this door is the power of both the Triforces of Wisdom and of Power, as well as a warrior of noble blood who will bear the mark of the Imperial Seal of Hyrule. Link places his hand upon the plate, and a blinding light flashes from under his hand. The door opens, to everyone's surprise. Watto and Billy stay behind, while Link and Zelda continue on. They come to another door, which again only Link can open. This door leads to a chamber. When Link and Zelda enter, they are shocked to find a woman inside, fast asleep. Link asks if she's still alive. Zelda says she's beautiful. Zelda finds ancient writings on the walls and tells Link that the wall tells the legend of Zelda, the sleeping princess. Zelda begins to read the story in full, written on the chamber wall. Long ago, Hyrule was ruled by a great and benevolent king. He used the power of the Triforces to bring prosperity to the land, but always kept their locations separate and secret to prevent their misuse. One day, the king died suddenly, leaving the kingdom to his children. The king's son, the prince, secretly coveted the throne. However, to become the rightful king, he needed the powers of all 3 Triforces. Link interrupts. There were 3 Triforces? Zelda continues to read the inscription. The prince and princess shared power equally under the Triforce of Power and of Wisdom, but to rule by himself, all 3 Triforces were needed. The king had hidden the 3rd Triforce, the Triforce of Courage, long ago, for the safety of the kingdom. The prince spent many years desperately searching for it, but could not find it. One day, the prince's aide had convinced him that the princess had found the Triforce of Courage and was planning to seize the crown all for herself. She needed to be eliminated. The prince could not believe such news, which upset the prince's aide. So he took it upon himself to remove the princess. The aide cast a magic spell on her. The prince heard her screams and demanded to know what was going on. The prince's aide then revealed himself to be a powerful black magician, saying that Hyrule will be forever cursed, then vanishing. The princess was not dead, however, only sleeping. All of the doctors, magicians, and priests from the kingdom tried to awaken the princess, but none could do so. Then a wise man revealed to the prince that he was in possession of a sealed treasure chest, which may break the curse cast upon the princess. However, the only one who could open it would not arrive in his lifetime, so the prince sealed the princess into this secret underground catacomb, along with the treasure chest. The prince then ordered by royal decree that each successive princess carry the name of his sister, Zelda, so that she may never be forgotten, and that someday the chosen hero will arrive, one who could restore the power of the Triforces, awaken Princess Zelda, and bring peace to Hyrule forevermore. Zelda and Link turn to the sleeping princess, the first Princess Zelda. Link and Zelda remark on how beautiful she is, and that her brother must have loved her dearly. Link and Zelda notice the Imperial Seal of Hyrule on the treasure chest. Link places his hand on the seal, and it opens. Inside, Link and Zelda find crystals and a letter written in ancient Hyrulean. The letter instructs them to place 6 crystals at the altar of 6 sacred palaces across Hyrule. After doing so, the pathway to the Triforce will be made known, and the 3 Triforces can then be unified. However, there are only 3 crystals in the chest. That morning, as the storm comes to an end, Link sets off on his journey. Zelda gives Link the pendant he wore during his last quest, which allowed them to communicate with each other. Zelda and Billy, the royal bodyguard, wish him well, as Link sets off with Watto to find the first palace. Link and Watto first come to a cave, where it appears they're already under attack. Link throws out his sword to apprehend the attacker, and demands to know who he is and why he is here. It is a mole-like creature who knows Link and says that he's been waiting for him in this cave. He says his name is Couscous and was a servant to the wise old man who aided Link on his first quest. Couscous tells Link that the wise old man had passed away, but that he was to pass on his final words to Link, that Link would soon confront the most powerful enemy he would ever face, and that it was a foe that only Link was strong enough to defeat. Couscous then informs Link that he knows the whereabouts of the sacred palaces in Hyrule, and will accompany Link to them. Link declines, saying it would be too dangerous, but Couscous pleads to follow him. Link finally agrees, realizing that if Couscous can help him, then he can return to Zelda faster. Couscous also reveals to Link his lifelong wish, to become a human being. They head off under Couscous's guidance, but are soon attacked. Couscous is frightened out of his mind and uses magic to fight them off, to no avail. Link asks Couscous why he used magic rather than attack those enemies with his sharp claws, to which Couscous replies that he wishes to become human, and humans don't have claws, but often use magic in battle. Watto's nose picks up a scent, saying there's medicine and possibly people nearby. Link finds a secret entrance to a shop. The shopkeeper and Link converse about where the palace might be, as well as what medicines might help them along the way. The shopkeeper's grandson blurts out that he knows where the palace is, and that they should travel north. The shopkeeper scolds the boy for speaking when not spoken to, and continues to push Link into buying as much medicine as he can, saying that these are all made from the finest fairy water. However, with the information in hand, they leave and soon come to the first sacred palace entrance. Link, Watto, and Couscous face dangerous enemies at each turn. They fight and search, as Link reminds Watto and Couscous that the crystal needs to be placed in a statue at an altar somewhere in the palace. They eventually find a passageway which leads to the statue, guarded by Mazura, a knight who has the body of a man and the head of a horse. Mazura says to Link that the only way to reach the statue is to defeat him. They engage in battle. Couscous tries to use magic, but it does nothing to such a strong enemy. Link and Mazura sword fight, but neither get in any effective attacks. Mazura uses magic on Couscous, which does immense damage and shakes him to his core. Enraged, Couscous attacks with his claws and teeth right at the throat of Mazura. It gives Link a fighting chance, and with one blow, beheads him. Link runs to the aid of Couscous, who is happy he could help Link defeat Mazura, but the damage Couscous received was too much, and he passes away in Link's arms. Link and Watto mourn Couscous, saying that he could never live his dream to become human. As they lay him to rest, something falls from his ear. A crystal. 4 of the 6 crystals have now been found. Link places Couscous's crystal into the statue, which emits a blinding light.
おばちゃん、これ見てこれ。
おお、ハイラルの紋章。リンクが16歳の時、左手の甲に紋章が現れる。これこそが真の勇者の証。アクションロールプレイングゲーム「ゼルダの伝説パート2リンクの冒険」。ここまで来たらやめられない。やればやるほどディスクシステム。
After placing a crystal in the first sacred palace, Link ventures on to find the next one and complete his mission to place all of them in sacred palaces across Hyrule to break the sleeping spell placed on the first Princess Zelda generations ago. Link and Watto find refuge in a quiet little town called Ruto. Link asks around the village of the location of the next sacred palace. One of the people Link meets here is a kind but confused old woman. Link and Watto can't make sense of what she's saying, and her granddaughter, Irina, calls them to bring her into the house. She makes Link and Watto something to eat to regain their strength, and tells them of how her grandmother was in better health until one day some monsters came and stole the goddess statue that she had in her house. If Link could retrieve it, the old woman might become well again. Link and Watto take up the challenge. They head off to the nearest cave, encounter a boomerang-wielding gorilla, and after a quick defeat, recover the statue and return it to its rightful owner. The old woman is very grateful, and in the presence of the statue, her memory is restored. She tells Link she doesn't know where the palace is, but she knows someone who knows. An old man named Ibis. She tells Link where to find him. The road is long, and Link feels as if he is lost, but eventually hears a distant voice calling him. From a secret entrance, Link enters a chamber to find Ibis. He greets Link and acknowledges he does know where the palace is. But he tells Link about the dangers ahead and that Link will never survive without learning magic spells. Ibis offers a chance to train and learn how to use magic before he continues his quest. The training is hard and difficult. Much of it looks like Link is just having to do chores for Ibis. But after enduring enough, he grants Link the ability to use magic, and tells him that other wise men are able to teach him very powerful spells. Ibis tells Link the way to the next palace, but insists he not travel alone. Link, not knowing anyone else, returns to the town, and tells Barina everything that happened. She insists on taking him there, even though Link says that it's too dangerous. They must cross a foggy swamp to reach the palace, and Octoroks are hiding everywhere. They attack, and one Octorok strikes Barina, causing her to lose consciousness in front of the palace. Link lays Barina under the tree and enters, praying that she stays safe until he returns. Inside the palace, the enemies are stronger than ever. In one chamber, though, he discovers the handy gloves, and then descends down a long elevator to meet Germafencer, who guards the statue. Link attacks and knocks off the helmet of Germafencer to reveal his true face. The battle continues, and Link can't seem to get a damaging hit in. Realizing his strategy isn't working, Link changes stance and attacks head-on, striking the face of Germafencer. He explodes in a giant flash, dissipating in his suit of armor. Link places the second crystal into the statue and leaves the palace. Outside, Arena is gone, much to the sadness of Link and Watto. Before Link can search for her though, he hears a call for help from another person. A man is being ambushed from all sides. Luckily for him, Link is able to help the man make an easy escape. His name is Bug. As a way to show thanks, Bug offers Link and Watto an amazing feast and a place to rest for the night. They stay up late into the night drinking and conversing. Bug tells Link about his job as a woodcutter, and Link has a few drinks too many. As the sun rises, Bug tells Link how to find the nearest town, Saria, but to beware, as it's not the safest of places. Link thanks him and asks Bug for one favor: to never cut down the tree where he left Barina. Bug swears to it that the tree will always stand, and the two part ways. Link soon comes to the town of Saria. Watto can feel a sense of danger. They come to a pub in a town filled with rough-looking characters. One of them tells Link he's in the wrong place, as it's not a place for kids, and throws Link out when he can't afford anything in the pub. On the way out, Watto finds a mirror on the floor. In an alley behind the pub, they hear a young girl crying. It's Barina! It was her mirror lying in the pub. She takes them to the town wise man, who knows Ibis, and teaches Link a new magic spell, the magic of healing. The wise man tells Link that before going to the next sacred palace, he must return to Death Mountain to find an important item vital to his quest. He tells Link to cross the river and be careful. When Link reaches the river bank, he sees no bridge. The nearest house has a man inside who asks Link why he is in such a hurry, adding that only townsfolk can cross over. Link says he has a letter from Bug that vouches for Link, and without hesitation, the man calls out two birds who pull the bridge out for Link to cross. At Death Mountain, the climb is steep. Ganon may have been slain, but his fortress and minions still remain, awaiting his return. As Link climbs up to the fortress, he's being watched from afar by a mysterious, masked figure who happily awaits his arrival. For he knows that if the blood of Link touches the ashes of Ganon, the Dark Lord will be resurrected and reawaken more powerful than ever. He gives his henchmen the orders to attack Link on sight. Upon arrival at Ganon's fortress, Link is immediately confronted by swarms of minions. Having been here once before, Link knows where to go and quickly runs to Ganon's chamber. Inside, he finds the item the wise man told him about, the hammer. But Link and Watto wonder, what makes it so special? After retrieving the hammer from Death Mountain, Link continues his quest to break the sleeping spell cast on the first Princess Zelda. The trip back down the mountain finds Link being confronted at every turn, and while Link can usually handle things, he finds himself cornered between a gang of thugs and an impassable route. Link tries his luck with the hammer, and with the simplest of taps, demolishes the giant boulder, that blocks the way, leaving his would-be attacker shocked and amazed at Link's abilities. This gang, realizing Link's power, bows down and recognizes him as the chosen hero, prophesied long ago. They inform Link that the path forward leads to Mido Town, and that Link should meet the wise old man there. Mido is the town where, by boat, the easternmost island of Hyrule Kingdom can be reached. However, at this time the harbor and boats are in a state of disrepair. Link finds the wise old man in town, and he says that Link surely must have found the hammer, as there would be no other way for someone to enter the town. He teaches Link the spell, which can transform him into a fairy. The old man tells Link to look for the tombstone of the King of Hyrule to find the entrance to the next sacred palace. He says that there's a special treasure to look out for as well. Link goes to the harbor, trying to find a usable ship to reach the island, but to no avail. Everyone in the harbor has gathered together, making a commotion. There's a wolf-type creature in the town. The people don't trust him, as he is non-human, and they begin to attack him, forcing him to leave. This wolfman stands his ground, refusing to go, and strikes back. The crowd gets larger as they gang up on him, and Link calls out to warn the wolfman to look out from behind. The wolfman is able to disarm a bow and arrow aimed right at his head. To everyone's surprise, Link and the wolfman know each other. His name is Gump, and long ago, Link studied under him. Gump is very happy to see Link again, and for old time's sake, offers him a training session to see how he's grown since they first met. Gump is impressed by Link's skills, but still finds fault in his technique. That night around the fire, Link, Gump, and Watto discuss Link's quest. Gump says that the palace nearby is guarded by a fiercely strong enemy, and that Link may not be strong enough to survive. It might even be too much with Gump accompanying. The sun rises over the eastern sky, and the palace becomes visible on the horizon. Link has no idea how to cross the water to the sacred palace without a usable ship. Gump knows of a passage that leads there, but before he has a chance to explain, Watto cries out for help. Link and Gump are unable to find him, and with one step, Link slips and falls down into an underground passageway. He finds Watto being ambushed by dealers. Watto is easily rescued, and Link appears unshaken. The three regroup and follow the passageway underground to the palace. Inside, there's much danger, as strong Stalfos and Iron Knuckles are everywhere. In one far-off corner of the palace, Link, Watto, and Gump find an amazing treasure room filled with gold, jewels, and rarities. The sound of their excitement, however, alerts the palace guardian, Rebonak. Mounted on his steed, this guardian has no plans to let Link escape alive. Rebonak storms towards Link, and Link does his best to defend as Gump and Watto look on. Link, in each charge, narrowly misses the attack, and after a few rounds, bravely saddles Rebonak's sword and strikes his horse with a deadly pierce to its neck. Rebonak dismounts and engages Link in a sword fight. Gump does the best he can to warn Link when to strike and when to defend. Just as Rebonak moves in for a fatal blow, Link jumps high in the air, almost flying, and flips backwards behind Rebonak to deliver a strike dead centered down his helmet, defeating him. Gump and Watto rush to Link, relieved he could survive. Watto says to himself that it looked almost as if Link had grown fairy wings to reach that height. Link places the crystal into the statue, and with a blinding flash of light, an exitway opens for the three to make an easy escape. As they emerge outside, Gump asks Link about the remaining palaces, why Link has only one crystal left, and what to do about the remaining 2 crystals. Link says that according to the ancient document, when all 6 crystals are in place, the pathway to the Triforce of Courage will open, which is why the crystals aren't together, to prevent anyone from seizing power. Gump then revealed a secret to Link that he had hid all this time, that he was in possession of one of the 2 missing crystals. Gump claims that he got it as a reward for helping an old mountain hermit in a time of need. And now, as he draws his sword, Gump demands Link surrender his crystal. Link refuses, and Gump shouts angrily that he will not have his dreams of power denied. Gump turns on his former student and attacks, saying that the crystal will become his whether Link lives or dies. Gump's attacks are severe, and Link takes some critical damage in the fight. Link can hold his own at times, but is slowly losing the battle. Link does not wish to actually harm his former teacher though, but it's clear that if he doesn't do something now, his own life is at stake. Link strikes out and cuts right through Gump's shoulder, causing him to drop his crystal and sending him to the ground. Gump tells Link that now he has become the most powerful swordsman in the world, as the student has become the master. After which, Gump breathes his last and dies. As the rain begins to fall, Link cries over the body of his former teacher. Disheartened, Link throws the crystals to the ground and walks away, abandoning his quest. Watto tries to stop Link and talk some sense into him, but Link trips over a tombstone and hits the ground. Link blacks out, and soon finds himself face to face with the 3 palace guardians he had defeated before. The guardians ask him, "Why did you throw away the crystals? Did you not want to unify the Triforce? We will show you what Hyrule will become." An army of minions capture Link and take him away. They drive Link by cart across a conquered Hyrule, one of famine, poverty, and suffering. Link is then released from the cart and forced into slave labor, whipped repeatedly as punishment. Link sees Birina and Billy and refuses to let them be punished, and attacks the moblin handing out the abuse. This calls the attention of the Overlord nearby. He orders all of them to be hung from crosses in the field. He then tells Link and the others to witness and feel the power of the Triforce firsthand. The leader sends shockwave attacks to Link and the others, who must suffer and endure the pain. The leader says with the unified Triforce, he has the power to turn oceans into mountains and mountains into oceans. The leader then turns and says she is next. Princess Zelda will now be his, and Link can never stop him. Link seized with anger and screams out with all his might for him to stop. The power is so intense that it shatters the mysterious Overlord's mask to reveal his identity. Link. It was a dream. Link wonders aloud where he is, and discovers that he has found the tomb of the King of Hyrule. At the grave, Link swears that he will never run astray again, and vows to protect and defend Hyrule at all costs. Link uses the healing spell to regain his full power. Just then, Watto is surprised to find a family member has found them with an all-important message to relay to Link. The bird says that Princess Zelda is on her way here right now. Off in the distance, Link can see Zelda and Billy trying to chase off an enemy attack. Link jumps in, and just the threat of Link sends them fleeing. Link asks Zelda how she knew to come here. Zelda replied, with the pendant she gave Link, she knew exactly where he was, and she brought along Watto's family to help lead the way. Link didn't even know Watto was married, to which Watto quips that he likes to keep his work and home life separate. But here, for the first time, Link meets Watto's children, Pato, Pico, and Poto. Zelda asks Link for one favor, that the two of them train and fight together to save Hyrule. Link says no, as it's too dangerous and risky. Zelda assures Link that they will be protected, as she brought along a piece of both the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power. Link concedes and accepts Zelda's offer to help find the Triforce of Courage and awaken the first Princess Zelda. And with that, Zelda, Link, Billy, and Watto are off to the remaining sacred palaces in Eastern Hyrule. In our last episode, Link and Princess Zelda learned the past secrets of Hyrule. Link discovered that he is the chosen hero who will fulfill an ancient prophecy. In this discovery, Princess Zelda finds that she has a namesake who has been under a sleeping spell in Hyrule Castle for generations. To awaken her, Link must unify the 3 Triforces, though the location of the Triforce of Courage is unknown. In fact, Link and Zelda didn't even know it existed. To open the pathway to the Triforce of Courage, Link must place 6 crystals into statues at the altars of 6 sacred palaces scattered across Hyrule. Link has thus far placed half of them, has 2 more crystals in his possession, and 1 crystal remains unfound. With his quest half complete, Zelda, Link, Billy, and Watto reunite and form a plan to unify the Triforce and awaken the first Princess Zelda. However, the minions of Ganon continue to terrorize Hyrule, and Ganon will reawaken if his army can bring Link's blood to place on the ashes of Ganon. The road ahead will be dangerous, as the adventure of Link continues. Several days after returning from Mido Palace, Link and Billy are practicing techniques as Zelda's handmaidens come to alert them that Zelda cannot be found in the castle. Billy and Link think about it and come to the conclusion that if Watto is with her, they can't be too far. Then, one of the handmaidens finds a letter from Zelda saying that the two have gone off on a little jaunt and will return soon. Watto is not too pleased with Zelda, as he thought they were going to have a picnic, but Zelda intends to do some exploring. She wants Watto to join her on her very first treasure hunt. Zelda and Watto enter an old abandoned dungeon nearby, but find nothing. Zelda does enjoy the experience though, and is happy Watto can tag along. Returning back to the castle, Zelda and Watto hear a commotion from afar, and they find Toroto, the wife of Watto, who is relaying a distress call from the forest. They find themselves face to face with moblins, who say they are looking for a boy, fitting Zelda's description. Zelda finds it amusing, but erupts in anger, telling the moblins that the days of Ganon's army is over, and the remaining forces will meet their end soon. After scaring them off, Toroto takes them to the forest, where all of the animals are gathered, and explain that Ganon's army is occupying the forest, causing trouble and displacing them from their homes. Zelda and Watto see a moblin guarding a nearby passage. Zelda gives him 1 club to the head and ties him up. At the other end of the passage stands another moblin, and Zelda does the same attack again and ties him up as well. The passage reveals a fort built by Ganon's minions. They've built a huge catapult and have also stowed away the treasures of the nearby dungeon that Zelda and Watto were looking for. This startles Watto, who screams out and becomes noticed by those in the fort. Zelda tells Watto to bring Link immediately, as Zelda tries to fight the minions off herself. It's no use. She's captured and taken to the leader, a Lizalfos. He tells Zelda that soon Ganon will be resurrected, and this fort and the treasure will be a payment to him upon his arrival. Zelda is then thrown into a cell, along with Toroto. She's able to chew up the ropes that bound Zelda, letting her free her arms. Zelda tries casting a spell to break the lock, to no avail. She then tells Toroto to find Watto and give her pendant to him, as it will protect them at night when more dangerous monsters are out. She doesn't need to go very far, as Watto hasn't even left yet. She finds Watto pilfering some treasure for himself before he takes off. Watto departs and is able to make it back somewhat safely, though at the expense of all the treasure he tried to carry with him. In the night air, Link and Billy stand at the castle gates, wondering why Zelda never came back. Just then, Link spots Watto off in the distance being chased by Aches. Link is able to save Watto, and without hesitation, Link gets his sword and is on his way. At the fort, Zelda is brought out to be executed, and luckily Link has shown up just in time. Link frees Zelda from the table and confronts Lizalfos. He says Link and Zelda are about to take a special trip. He pulls the mouth of Ganon's statue open, activating a mechanism that floods the fort, sending everyone underwater and down the drain. Everyone is eventually able to swim to safety, but Watto laments losing all of that treasure being held inside the fort. Toroto tells Watto that he may have lost something of material value, but they still have each other, and that's the most valuable treasure of all. That morning they rest and regroup with the aim of reaching Eastern Hyrule. Billy says that without a ship, it's impossible to cross. Link tells him that in the third palace he found a raft that he can use to get everyone there. Billy says that's crazy, but Link throws the raft onto the water, and to everyone's amazement, the raft transforms into a full-sized sailing ship. They board and set sail for Eastern Hyrule. Aboard the ship, Watto gets a surprise, as Toroto has sent their 3 children to join their dada, to have more time together. Watto says it's too dangerous for all 3 of them to come along. Only 1 child can come, and so they draw straws to see who gets to tag along and who goes home. Watto, the baby bird, wins and gets to join Watto on this part of the journey. Sailing across the eastern sea of Hyrule gives Link and Zelda a lot of time to talk and reflect on where they've been and what still needs to be done. They know the battle ahead will be intense, but Link takes pride in stepping up to the challenge of finding the Triforce of Courage and bringing peace to the land. In a time of calm and quiet, Link tells Zelda that he just wants to admire her smiling face in this moment, together. But it won't last long, as storm clouds have formed and have put the ship into a squall. The ship takes on water, the mast cracks. A whirlpool forms and starts to take the ship down. Everyone tries frantically to stay grouped together, but the force of the water is too much. Zelda cries out for Link to take her hand. Link reaches out with all his strength to hold her as they go down the whirlpool. Far away, the mysterious leader of Ganon's army sees everything from his crystal ball. Sending the storm their way, he says, was a good idea, but that the combined power of Link and Zelda can only mean bad things for the minions of Ganon. He then calls out the army to bring him the blood of Link. On the shores of Eastern Hyrule, the storm has calmed itself, and Link washes up on the beachhead. Watto finds him and wakes him up. Watto says he was afraid they would all die, and is deeply saddened to be separated from his father. Link says that the best thing to do is to go find them, and assures the baby bird that if they are fine, the rest of the team should be as well. Link teaches Watto about the powers of the crystal pendant that Zelda entrusted to Link, that it serves as a beacon and can easily help find the others. Not far away, Link hears the cries of a familiar voice. Billy! He's been ganged up by Octoroks. Link charges and they start to flee, but Link continues the attack and slays them, telling them there's no escape. Billy is happy to rejoin Link and managed to save Link's shield during the wreck, which he then gives back to him. Soon the 3 find a town to rest and refresh themselves. Link doesn't know where he is. He asks villagers what the name of the town is. Only one woman will answer. A familiar old woman, the one who helped resurrect Link at the Fairy Spring prior to his fight with Ganon 2 years ago. She tells Link he is in the town of Naboru. The woman is no longer in the medicine business though, as the fairies who live at the spring have disappeared, and without them, the water of life cannot be made. In the town, the old woman takes Link to the local wise man, who teaches him the fire spell. He tells Link the 4th sacred palace is nearby, located in the center of an island maze, and the town of Darunia is in the same direction. The old woman presents Link with some food and a new hat. Billy and Link thank her for everything, and before they part ways, she gives him the final bottle of the water of life that she had been saving, for when he needs it. Link and Billy get lost immediately after departing Naboru. Watto flies above the trees to scout the area and finds the fourth sacred palace off in the distance. The palace sits atop a mountain surrounded by caves and pathways. Billy and Link see what looks like Princess Zelda going inside. They chase after her, but the maze is confusing and they get lost quickly. All throughout this, Link worries about Zelda and wonders why she's walking around here alone. Deep inside the palace, Link must battle the Wizrobe, who can disappear and moves too quickly for Link's fire magic. The Wizrobe's magic attacks nearly shatter Link's shield. The Wizrobe tells Link in battle that it's useless to fight as his magic is too strong. He also reveals to Link his ability to shapeshift. That ability, the Wizrobe admits, is how he set a trap for Link by transforming into Zelda to draw him into the palace. The Wizrobe tells Link to prepare for his end. Link flees, but there's no way out. The jump is too high and too far to make. With no other choice, Link casts the fairy spell on himself. He shrinks down and transforms into a fairy. While fleeing, Link collides head-on with Watto. Recovering from the crash, a Stalfos attacks Link from behind and completely shatters his sword and then his shield. The lack of equipment forces Link into hand-to-hand combat, but it's only enough to push off the Stalfos and escape. Outside, Watto notices humans are nearby. Link walks along the path and falls through a pit to discover Billy, tied up. As Link unties him, Zelda appears, warning Link that Billy isn't real and this is a trap. Link's first reaction to her is to ask if the Triforce of Courage is safely in her possession. Not having any answer, Link knows something is not right, and that this isn't actually the real Zelda. His instincts are correct, as Zelda transforms and attacks. Though with Link already on guard, this fake Zelda is taken care of easily. With Billy is a small boy named Hank, who was kidnapped from his hometown, Darunia. Since that's the next stop for them anyways, they take the boy with them to return him home. On the outskirts of Darunia, more enemies lay in wait. They're so strong, even fire magic can't defeat them. Link and Billy are surrounded, but suddenly, a brave man jumps into the fray and manages to take the tough monsters out. The man is the father of the kidnapped boy, and they happily reunite. The battle has taken its toll on Link, and so he takes the final bottle of Water of Life to restore his power. Now rested, Link and the man can be properly introduced. His name is Shaman, the Paladin of Darunia, chosen as the strongest man in town to be the guardian of the people there. As such a high-profile person, he tells Link that his son was kidnapped as a way to distract and displace Shaman from his duties so that Darunia could be conquered. When the group arrive at the gates of the town, they find it under siege. Ganon's army tears down the walls and sets fire to the town, while attacking innocent people. Link, Billy, Shaman, and Hank jump right into battle, slaying as many of Ganon's minions as they can, while sticking together to protect each other. Shaman casts the powerful Reflect spell that repels all enemies and their projectiles from the immediate area, giving them more space to fight and the chance to fend off and expel Ganon's army from the town. Link cannot believe his eyes when he sees the power of that spell. In the town of Darunia, Watto finds Watto, and Zelda is with him. With the town now safely locked down, Link and the others retell their stories of what has happened since they were separated. They all spend the night with Shaman and his family, including his grandmother. She tells everyone how her grandson is the strongest warrior in all of Eastern Hyrule that she has ever seen in all of her years. Shaman offers to teach Link the ability to cast the Reflect spell. Link is appreciative, but tells Shaman of how he's damaged his sword and shield. Shaman replies that he can offer Link a new sword, one that is imbued with magic powers. Back at Death Mountain, the leader of Ganon's army scolds the minions for failing to take the town of Darunia, and orders the entire army sent out not to return until they have Darunia fully under their control. Shaman takes Link to the town smithy to forge the magical sword. Rare materials mined only in Darunia are melted down and poured into the mold. Shaman pours magic potions and casts incantations over the sword as Link watches on. Outside the smithy, Billy and Zelda discuss their plans after leaving Darunia. Zelda says that it will take 3 days and nights to finish forging the magical sword. Zelda worries about Link. Not only that it's dangerous for him, but that she is also putting herself into harm's way, which Link opposed from the beginning. Zelda confides in Billy that she thinks it's almost time to end her quest and return to the castle. Holding Triforce pieces in her hands, Zelda looks up at the night sky, pondering what fate may befall Hyrule. Three days later, the sun rises over Darunia, and before most of the town is awake, Ganon's army has appeared at the town gates, demanding they hand over the town. The guardsmen sound the alarm, and the town's Minutemen assemble, ready for battle. However, Shaman and Link are not present, as they are still forging the magical sword. Hank is therefore the highest-ranking soldier available, and gives out orders to defend the town. Ganon's army pounds the gates with a massive battering ram, smashing right through. Ganon's army pours into Darunia, ready to charge. However, they all pause when in the town square, Link appears, ready to fight. The leader demands a one-on-one duel with Link, joyful at the prospect to be the one who can defeat him. The leader attacks with a giant axe and knocks Link to the ground. Billy calls for Link to get up. The leader goes in for the kill, when suddenly a voice cries out to stop. It was Link! Everyone is shocked to see two Links. How is this possible? One Link is actually Princess Zelda, disguised through her own magic power. Then the real Link goes on the offensive and charges the leader, killing him in one stroke. As the leader's lifeless body hits the ground, Link turns to the army and says they are next. Hundreds of arrows, axes, and swords come Link's way. Link retaliates by casting the Reflect spell. The soldiers of Darunia charge and push out Ganon's army as Link wields the new magical sword, casting spells and sending the army running. The soldiers of Darunia win the battle. However, one minion remains in hiding and is able to strike a blow by arrow to Shaman. Watto and Pato find the hidden archer and attack. The archer transforms into an ache and flies away. Shaman pulls the arrow from his arm and throws it into the air, driving it right through the ache, which falls to the ground, already dead. The town is now fully clear of danger, and things get rebuilt as Link, Zelda, Billy, Watto, and Pato are ready to leave the town and return to the fourth palace to place the crystal there. Before leaving, Shaman's grandmother gives Link a present, a new shield made with a helping hand from Princess Zelda. Everyone says goodbye and heads back to the fourth palace to finish the job. Before entering, Link takes Zelda aside and begs her not to enter. He tells Zelda that he knows he promised to teach her to fight and that they would be equals in this journey together, but that on top of the dangers that lay inside, Link needs to finish this fight himself. Zelda agrees and is secretly relieved to hear this from Link. However, Watto, long separated from his best friend, insists to go along, just like old times. Link travels right back to the Wizrobe's chamber and they battle one more time. However, with the new shield and the Reflect spell, Link is able to use the Wizrobe's magic energy and send it right back at him, leading to his end. In that chamber, Link finds the magic boots and then proceeds to the palace guardian, Korok. Huge, intimidating, and extremely powerful, Korok, with a haunting, booming voice, tells Link that he will be the last thing Link ever sees. Outside the sacred palace, Zelda, Billy, and Pato feel the shockwaves of this battle throughout the ground. The magic used both by Link and Korok causes an earthquake, and the sacred palace itself crumbles and disappears into the mountainside. Billy, Zelda, and Pato run to safety, and just as they fear the worst, Link appears in the middle of the sea, walking on water to greet them.
Zelda の伝説。そんなのあり？
After walking down the shoreline to find a nearby town, our heroes find Watto's family playing on the beach. Zelda tells them all about Watto and Link's bravery, as they have nearly completed their quest to return the 6 crystals to their rightful place within the sacred palaces of Hyrule. And that Link and Watto at this very moment are putting the 5th crystal in its place, having just one more to go until the pathway to the Triforce of Courage will open, which can awaken the first Princess Zelda, who has been asleep in the castle depths for generations. Soon after, Link and Watto return and present Zelda with treasure that was found there, a magic flute. Link has only one more sacred palace to visit, but is left with a problem. The crystal to place in that palace is not in his possession. Our heroes find a nearby town to see if it can be found. All of the people in this town act strangely. The town wise man has no knowledge of any crystal, and says that magic isn't performed in this town either. A helpful old woman tries her best to explain to them that Link needs to find the town of Kasuto, which lies to the south. Link follows the road to Kasuto, but comes to a dead end. When he finds the road stops at a huge lake, Billy asks Link what are they to do. There's no help from the town, and no way to cross or get around the lake. Just then, a giant lizard monster jumps out of the water. Link prepares for battle, but Zelda steps forward. She asks the monster to not be so angry. She then takes the magic flute and plays a tune that tames the monster and puts it under her command. Billy is amazed at the sight before him. They all ride the monster across the lake, taking them to a fort built by Ganon's army, which blocks the way to Kasuto. Link, Zelda, Billy, Watto, and Pato form a battle plan to storm the fort, with Link wielding powerful magics, Billy and Zelda defending on each side, while the birds airdrop rocks from above. During the charge, one attack comes a little too close to Zelda, and Billy turns around to guard her, leaving him open to an attack from behind. They take Billy off to the side, and with no water of life remaining, Link uses healing magic to bring Billy back to full health. Link is ready to go back and finish the battle. Watto warns him that he has used up all of his magic power, and that there isn't any water of life anymore either. There will be no way to heal themselves during or after this battle. It's a tough position to be in, but what can they do? Link asks. They must move forward, and they are unable to finish the quest without another crystal, which might be found beyond the fort. Zelda stands up and tells Link that she still has magic power, and though it can't be used to defeat the army, she can transform. It's one idea that may work, and the only choice they have left. To create confusion among Ganon's army, Zelda uses her power to make Zelda and Billy look just like Link. As they storm the town once more, the forces inside are confused as to who the real Link actually is. The 3 Links charge at once and take out as many of Ganon's forces as possible, turning the tide to win the battle. In the midst of fighting, one Link gets injured and must be taken away, while the other 2 continue to fight. The wounded Link stays with Watto and Pato in a secluded cave off to the side, for now. Unknown to them, though, is that the eyes of Ganon are everywhere, following them. As the battle wages on, the lizard beast that was tamed by Zelda's flute shows up to heed the call to action and fight alongside the Links, helping to clear out Ganon's army. Not long after, the leader of Ganon's army gives the call for retreat, saying that they have what they're looking for. Link wonders why the army would leave so suddenly and take nothing with them. But there, in the center of town, tied to a post, hangs one of the 3 Links and a pool of blood. Link asks, "Did they take your blood? Please, don't die!" Laying on the ground, the injured Link says, "Is that you, Link? Did you survive?" Healthy Link casts a revive spell, which does not work. The real Link has no magic power left. The spell begins to wear off, and the disguise of Link fades away to reveal Princess Zelda. Zelda, lying on the ground in the rain, tells Link that she was grateful to travel alongside him and to fight together as equals. Link cries in anger over his own lack of magic to bring her back, asking why. Why did Zelda have to do this? Zelda says to Link that he has to protect Hyrule for her. Link asks how, without a leader. Link cries profusely and screams out Zelda's name in a vain hope that she can still hang on. But Zelda no longer responds. The Princess of Hyrule has passed away. Meanwhile, in the fortress of Ganon on Death Mountain, the Dark Lord has been brought back to life. As the body of Ganon begins to form from the ashes, he screams in pain, saying his face burns, leaving him disfigured. The leader of the army asks the battalion leader if that was truly the blood of Link. The battalion leader says he doesn't know. There were 3 Links. He took the blood of the only one he could capture. Ganon strikes down the battalion leader and kills him instantly for his insolence. Link returns to the cave, carrying Zelda's lifeless body. Billy can't accept the loss of Zelda, as he has failed in his sworn duty to protect her life at all costs. Angry at himself and at Zelda for inviting to come along, he is overcome with grief and regret over what could have easily been avoided by staying at the castle. Link tries to console him, but also feels the same regret. The rain begins to break, and out of nowhere, Ganon appears. Link cannot believe his eyes. He asks if he is truly Ganon or not. Ganon says that he has returned from the deepest reaches of the underworld, thanks to the blood of Princess Zelda. He begins to strike, attacking Link and Billy with damaging waves of magic. As Ganon gets closer to move in for the kill, he backs off and screams in pain, as again, his face begins to melt. His underlings can't explain why, and Link appears confused as well, but something is harming Ganon. The army makes a retreat, fortunately enough for Link, as now would not be a good time for battle. Billy, Link, and the birds prepare a ship they found nearby and place Zelda's body inside. Link tells everyone to return to the castle and stay safe until he returns from his quest, which now includes defeating Ganon once more. Before they leave, Link kisses Zelda, saying his final goodbye. As Link watches the ship sail away, he begins to trek to Kasuto Town. He says goodbye to the lizard beast as well, telling him to hide out and stay safe now that Ganon has returned. To reach the town, Link must climb steep mountains, but after the rainfall, they're slick and slippery. High atop a mountain cliff, Link loses his balance and falls head first, smashing his face on the rocks below. Everything goes black, and Link wakes up at the fairy spring, with his old friends waiting there to revive him. Link asks the fairies where they have been, to which they reply that they are always around, but can only be seen when it's really needed for them to appear. Link immediately asks if they can bring Zelda back to life. The fairies tell Link, unfortunately, that since Zelda has already died, there's nothing they can do to bring her back. Link thanks them, but says he must leave quickly. He must find the Triforce of Courage and do so before Ganon, saying to himself that the Triforce can bring Zelda back, just like it did once before. Link finally reaches the town of Kasuto, using some help from the pendant that Princess Zelda gave Link long ago. The town seems abandoned, yet Link finds one old man living in an old worn-down house. The old man says that he is the only person living in the town, and the rest have moved to New Kasuto. Link tells the old man of the passing of Zelda. He concurs that the darkest times of Hyrule may be near. This is why the people of Kasuto left, to flee Ganon's army and protect its treasures. Link is instructed to go there and study magic under the wise man's apprentice, and prays that Link can find the Triforce of Courage to save Hyrule. As Link leaves, he hears a strange noise outside. It's Watto! He's crash-landed. Link scoops him up and scolds him for coming back, but is also concerned about his well-being. Watto tells Link that he was trying to find him because the lizard beast wanted to come back to help Link as a way of saying thanks for removing Ganon's forces from his home. So the three decide to journey on together. Meanwhile, Ganon's army has made its way to Hyrule Castle in search of the Triforces, only to find that the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power each have a piece missing. They were in the possession of Zelda, but now she's gone, and the location of these pieces are unknown. Ganon is also informed of the Triforce of Courage. They formulate a plan to let Link find the Triforce of Courage, then take it away from him. With the pieces that Zelda took that are missing, no one can actually unify the Triforces, and they believe it should pose no threat to Ganon to face Link after the Triforce of Courage is found. Until then, Ganon and his army continue to terrorize the people of Hyrule. Link continues on, venturing eastward to the town of New Kasuto, fighting off the fiercest enemies Link has so far seen. The assistance from Watto and the lizard beast are invaluable. While fighting their way through the forces, Link finds 3 lost children held hostage by Ganon's minions. Link is able to rescue them and learns that the children are from New Kasuto, have wandered away from the town, and ended up getting captured. Link asks them to take him to the town, as he's been all over these woods and cannot find it. The children take Link to a large tree, a basket descends, and they tell Link to climb aboard. To Link's amazement, the town of New Kasuto is suspended high above the trees of the forest. The lizard beast is too heavy to ride up and has to stay below. The children are happy to be reunited with their families, as are the parents, though one receives a scolding for disobeying his mother. The town guard insists Link meet with Bente, who, to Link's surprise, is not an old man, but a beautiful young woman, and an extremely skilled mage. Bente thanks Link for saving the children, and explains why the people of Kasuto moved into the trees above the forest. And that was to protect the children, as they are the most cherished treasure the town could ever have. Bente teaches Link the ability to reduce strong enemies to their weakest form, the spell magic. Link asks Bente about the final crystal, and she says that this crystal is not missing. It's not even hidden. The final crystal is the pendant that Zelda gave Link long ago. Bente reminds Link that there's very little time left, as Ganon is destroying Hyrule as they speak. Link concurs and sets out for the 6th palace. Before he leaves, the people of New Kasuto have gathered to say goodbye, and the children have presented Link with a token of gratitude as well. The whole time, Zelda has been with Link, and with her gifts of the pendant and shield, she was able to show her love and appreciation for Link. Zelda is truly the one who can allow Link to complete his quest for the Triforce of Courage. In our last episode, Link and Zelda fought together, along with the royal bodyguard Billy and Watto's family, in their quest to find the Triforce of Courage, which is needed to awaken the first Princess Zelda, who has been under a sleeping spell for generations. Link forged the magical sword and was given the magical shield by Princess Zelda. Things looked positive at first, but soon turned for the worse as Zelda was killed by Ganon's minions and her blood, mistaken for that of Link's, was used to resurrect Ganon, who is now destroying the countryside of Hyrule in search of the 2 missing pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power that were taken by Zelda as a safeguard to having Hyrule fall into the wrong hands. Link must still place one final crystal into the statue in the 6th Sacred Palace in his hopes to awaken the first Princess Zelda, unify the Triforces, and defeat Ganon. Hyrule hangs in the balance as the adventure of Link continues. In the town of New Kasuto, Link has learned from the town mage, Bente, that the final crystal is the pendant that was given to him by Princess Zelda. The people of New Kasuto take Link to a shrine, located under the oldest tree in Hyrule, which has the same inscription as the catacomb in Hyrule Castle, with a message that only the chosen hero bearing the insignia of Hyrule can enter. Link places his hand upon the seal, and the doors open, to the shock of the people of New Kasuto. Inside, Link finds a key. Bente explains that this is the magical key, and any door in Hyrule can be opened with it. Link departs with the magical key and returns to Old Kasuto to visit the wise old man once more. The wise old man hears from Link about his time in New Kasuto, and teaches Link the most powerful spell that exists, Thunder Magic. The wise old man tells Link that he has learned all that he can, and there's nothing more that he can do, telling Link to go and save Hyrule. The final sacred palace lies far across the desert, near the three-eyed rock. As they reach the desert, the lizard beast, who has been with Link and Watto on this leg of their journey, says that the environment of the desert is too dry and deadly for him, and will not be crossing. For now, it's just Link and Watto. The desert is filled with minions, and Link gets ambushed at every turn. Link takes the opportunity to try the thunder magic for the first time. As he casts thunder, everything disappears into a blinding flash of light, and the minions around him are reduced to dust. Link and Watto are amazed at what they've seen, and the magic is so strong, Link is physically affected by it. They eventually reach their way to the three-eyed rock. Watto is confused, as there is no palace to be seen. Link reminds him that, per the instructions of the wise man in Old Kasuto, the palace will open if you play a hymn on the magic flute. Link says he doesn't play as well as Zelda, but he will try his best anyway. The desert sand surrounding Three-Eyed Rock gets swallowed up as the earth shakes all around. The center rock is the palace. Ganon's minions are everywhere and are super strong. Link uses his entire magic arsenal to make his way through. They find the cross in a treasure room. In the depths of the palace, it looks like they've reached the end, but Link feels that something is wrong. It's too quiet. Just then, the giant fire-breathing serpent Barba flies up out of the water and attacks Link with a deadly blaze. Link leaps out of the way, jumping all over the island platforms within the chamber. Watto tells Link to attack from behind. Link tries to get behind Barba, defending against the fire with his shield, but Barba is just too fast and Link can't strike. Link waits patiently for Barba to rise up again, but knows the timing must be perfect or he will miss. Link attacks before Barba even surfaces, landing a critical strike right in time. Barba freezes in place. Link and Watto look on, as it appears the strike did nothing. Then, Barba explodes in a giant fireball. Link and Watto leave the sacred palace, but they're unsure of what to do. All of the crystals are in place, but where do they go? How do they find the Triforce of Courage? Suddenly, a beam of light shines from the Triforce etched in the front of the palace. The beam extends far off into the sky, reaching the hills of Death Valley. They now know where to go. And, just like that, the beam of light fades away. The earth begins to shake, sand rises up, and the sacred palace has disappeared back into the ground. Link and Watto return back to their friend who was waiting for them at the edge of the desert, and walk together under the night sky towards their destination. Meanwhile, on Death Mountain, the mysterious leader watches from afar, and now that the location of the Triforce of Courage is known, sends Ganon's army to Death Valley to finish Link and claim the Triforce there for themselves. Link, Watto, and the lizard beast travel from the desert to Death Valley, and must fight through the entirety of Ganon's army, who are blocking the way. It takes all of Link's strength to survive the battles, and without the magic he has learned along the way, would never make it. Most effective is spell magic, which reduces minions to mere bots. As the three fight on, the road does lead, in the end, to the Great Palace, which is sealed under the rock of the mountain. It looks impossible for anyone to enter, but on the side of the mountain lies a stone tablet with a message that tells all who try to enter that only the chosen hero can open the palace gates. Link removes the handy gloves and places his hand that bears the royal insignia of Hyrule on the tablet, after which the rock of the mountain crumbles away like dust. Link says to Watto, the Triforce of Courage is just ahead. With the first step though, the worst has happened, as Ganon appears before them. Ganon thanks Link for the help, and says that the Triforce will now belong to him, and that Link's journey ends here. Ganon reaches out his hand, sending a shockwave of dark magic. Link barely lifts his shield in time. The force is so intense, it knocks Link to the ground, dropping the magic flute. Ganon comes closer, but something stops him. His face burns and melts mysteriously, just as it had before. Ganon says that he must have Link's blood to continue to live, and he will have it. Ganon prepares for a final attack, and says that he will send Link to the underworld. If he were to take one more step, Ganon would step on the magic flute, but being of such importance to the lizard beast, he refuses to allow it to be harmed. The lizard beast headbutts Ganon to stop the magic flute from being destroyed. The push sends both of them over the edge of the cliff. Both sides watch on, as the only thing that eventually rises to the surface was the ribbon that Zelda gave the lizard beast after she tamed him. Watto, though saddened, tells Link they must get to the Triforce quickly. Link agrees and runs off, though Link says he regrets never knowing the lizard beast's name. Link and Watto hurry inside the Grand Palace, but unbeknownst to them, Ganon survived the collision and has resurfaced. Ganon orders the army to charge, but neither Ganon nor his minions can enter. A force field prevents them from going any further. Inside the Great Palace, Link confronts a Folkeru. Link is victorious, but is being worn down from all the fighting he's endured. Outside the Great Palace gates, Ganon still tries to find a way inside. Using his magic powers, he's able to find a hidden wall and slides through, leaving the army outside, waiting for Link. Back inside, Link and Watto are fighting on, and in some cases retreating just to survive. Watto tells Link that even after all of this, they will still have to face Ganon's army again on the outside. Link says he knows that, but if they could just get the Triforce of Courage. Ganon walks through the halls of the Great Palace looking for Link, and is also ambushed by the monsters inside. Link continues to fight a Folka, but gets backed into a corner on a very shaky, unsteady ledge. The Folka begs Link to end his misery and jump off now. Striking again, Link dodges just in time, but the Folka has torn a hole in the wall behind Link. Link climbs in, but slips and falls into the darkness. Watto tries to pick him up, but Link does not respond. Ganon is still somewhere in the Great Palace and admits to himself that he can feel his body melting away. He needs the blood of Link to fully reform, or soon he will return back to dust. Still suffering from the attacks inside, the Dark Lord decides to retreat and goes to search for the lifeless body of Zelda, figuring that Link will surrender the Triforce in exchange for her. Watto continues to try waking up Link, and suddenly hears a voice calling his name. Watto asks, "Are you the fairies?" They are. Watto asks them to please come help. The fairies say that they cannot, as it's too dangerous, but that they are within the Great Palace, and to bring Link to them. Watto pushes and pulls, but Link's lifeless body won't budge. Watto gives up, realizing it's hopeless. He's just too small. But Watto remembers he has one final hope. He has been in possession of a secret for a very long time, one that Link doesn't even know. Watto has known all this time that Zelda placed the pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power within the cross on Link's shield. It has kept Link safe and kept Ganon from being able to capture him. Now Watto can use it to save Link. Watto places his hands on the pieces, and in a flash of light has received a surge of strength. Watto can now carry Link to the fairies. He follows their directions, but reaches a dead end. Watto asks, "Is this the right place?" The fairies say, "Yes, it is," behind the wall. Watto takes Link's handy gloves, a magical sword, and tears down the wall, revealing the fairies.
うちの孫変わったゲームをやっててね、テレビが孫の名前を呼ぶんだよ。
緑のヒデが落とし穴にはまったよ。
あんたの孫は有名人だ。
そんなこと言いながらうまいことやる。こっちか。
おーい、テレビの豊富な
テレビからの声を頼りにアドバンスの画面でメダルを奪い合おう。つながる遊びが3つも入った。任天堂ゲームキューブゼルダの伝説4つの剣プラス。
After being revived by the fairies, Link and Watto are on their way to the Triforce of Courage. Link now stands face to face with Bulba, guardian of the Triforce of Courage. Link can feel the spirit of the wise old man who helped him on his first quest, guiding him, telling him that the Thunderbird is the strongest enemy he will ever face. But do not be afraid, because Link has the power to defeat him. Bulba asks Link, does he think he's strong enough to defeat the Thunderbird, guardian of the Triforce? Bulba says that if Link made it to his chamber, he surely must not be an enemy, as only the chosen hero could have entered the Great Palace and reached here. Nevertheless, Bulba says it's his sworn duty to destroy anyone who comes to take the Triforce, and he will do that right now. The two engage in battle. Bulba, the Thunderbird, sends waves of magic energy which Link can defend. Link swings his sword but cannot connect. The sword seems to pass right through Bulba, with no damage being taken. Link tries one more opening in the shoulder of Bulba's armor, being able to pierce through. The Thunderbird yells out in pain as light emits from his body. Link casts the Reflect magic to return the coming shockwave, but it never happens. Bulba stands, unbeaten, laughing at Link. Bulba again returns to offense, sending fire Link's way. Link retaliates with the Thunder magic. The intensity of the spell sends lava inside the mountain flowing upward. Link and Watto find themselves protected in a sealed bubble as boiling lava surrounds them. This is still not enough to defeat the Guardian though, as Bulba grabs the bubble and begins to squeeze. Link jumps out just in time and slices through the Guardian's head. Link lands on his feet to see Bulba has still not fallen. The Thunderbird just laughs and reaches out for Link to end the battle. Link takes the magical sword and drives it straight through Bulba's neck. His body begins to shake, his armor cracks, and he says to Link that he will never surrender. But the battle has finally been won. Bulba, the Thunderbird, guardian of the Triforce of Courage, disappears into a blinding explosion. The battle was so intense that it causes the mountain to become actively volcanic, blowing away many of Ganon's minions who wait outside, and is visible across Hyrule. The chamber has been destroyed and is collapsing. Watto spots a door and they run inside. Link and Watto have found the Triforce of Courage. Then, Link hears a voice. Welcome, chosen hero. A figure appears above the Triforce. The old man. He says to Link that he will rightfully earn the Triforce of Courage on the condition that Link faces one final challenge. Link turns to the mirror behind him and his reflection comes to life. The reflection stabs Link and steps through the glass. The old man says Link must defeat the evil inside his heart, as only a truly virtuous person can accept the Triforce. The battle begins as Dark Link attacks and tells Link that they may look the same, but we are not the same, and I will consume you. The sword fight is heated as Link and Dark Link mirror each other with every step. Link stumbles, and Dark Link takes the upper hand as he draws his sword and says he can read every move Link has because he knows Link better than himself, because he is Link. Link gets up and continues to fight, each one getting in attacks sparingly. Dark Link tries to psych out Link, saying that Zelda is dead because of him. Gump, Couscous, they all died because of him. Link tries to block it out, but eventually stumbles. Dark Link raises his sword and says the Triforce of Courage and Hyrule will belong to him. Watto tries to stop, flying right towards Dark Link. With one swipe, Dark Link bats Watto away, hurling him to the floor. Link runs to catch him. Watto says he knows Link will prevail, but had to help. He says to Link to tell his wife and children he is sorry. Dada will never come home. Watto dies in Link's arms, as Dark Link stands behind, ready to deliver the death blow. Link turns and Dark Link says, all that you have loved and sworn to protect is now gone. Link swells with rage and begins a barrage of attacks that is quick and unrelenting. Link is able to gain an inch on Dark Link and slices him in half from head to toe. Dark Link rises and tells Link he can never be defeated. Link says, "Begone! You are no longer inside me. I have freed my heart of evil. When I look in the mirror, you are not here. As long as there is a Hyrule, I will never be consumed by you. Leave at once and be gone!" With those words, Dark Link disappears. Link has defeated his greatest enemy, his own hatred and doubts, which would otherwise prevent him from truly being able to accept the title of the chosen hero. The old man emerges and presents Link with the Triforce of Courage. Link asks the old man if he is really alive. The old man says that he is indeed alive and has been here the entire time, as per the orders of the King of Hyrule. Using the powers of the Triforce, however, the old man says he is able to appear anywhere at any time. The powers of the Triforce return Watto to life, and Link can now awaken the first Princess Zelda. Link can use the unified Triforce to bring Zelda back to life as well. The old man says it's not that easy, as he informs Link that Ganon is still alive and must be fully killed for Hyrule to at last be in peace. Link has recovered the Triforce of Courage, but Ganon still remains. While Link was in the Great Palace, he was unaware that Ganon survived his fall into the lake at Death Valley, searched for the Triforce, and then retreated. Ganon had gone to Hyrule Castle and seized the lifeless body of Princess Zelda, as well as Billy, her royal guardian, who was to continue protecting her until Link could return with the Triforce of Courage to resurrect her. Link approaches Ganon and demands he give back Billy and Zelda. Ganon says, only in exchange for the Triforce. Billy shouts to Link, "No! Don't let him have it!" Ganon wrings Billy's body, nearly killing him. Ganon says it's very simple, the Triforce and Link's blood in exchange for Zelda, adding that he will even bring Zelda back to life. Just hand it over. Link clutches the Triforce of Courage, contemplating the choice. Ganon grows impatient and insists he hand it over now, striking Link with a blast of fire, throwing him into the mountainside. Link regains his composure, and Ganon raises the stakes. Hand the Triforce over, or Billy dies. Link jumps up and screams, "No!" As Ganon raises Billy to throw him into the lake below, Ganon's body takes another hit and decomposes further, wearing him down, knocking him to the ground, dropping both Billy and Zelda. Billy stares downward as the lake gets closer, but is grabbed at the last minute by Link. Watto cries out, "Zelda!" Zelda's lifeless body is in freefall. Link races through the air to try and rescue her. He reaches out, grabbing the bottom of her shroud. Zelda slips out and falls from Link's grasp. Link, Billy, Watto, Ganon, and the minions all watch as Zelda's lifeless body hits the surface of the lake and sinks to the bottom, never to be seen again. Link is left speechless, but has no time to even react as Ganon and his army moves in. Link, Billy, and Watto jump out of the way, and Link sends Watto and Billy back to the castle, flying on the magical shield. Link equips the Triforce of Courage to the magical sword and engages Ganon one-on-one in mid-air over Death Valley, leaving Billy and Watto to make a safe exit as Ganon's army watches on. Link casts the thunder magic, and in a flash of light, the remaining minions still gathered at Death Valley are disintegrated. Link and Ganon now stand alone and continue to battle. Watto and Billy are fast on their way back to the castle, but Ganon makes a move, escaping Link and follows them, nearly capturing them. Link is able to catch up, and using the force of the magical shield, blows Ganon off course, sending him slamming into the ground. Link steers the magical shield over the castle and sees Watto's family as they approach the castle grounds. At the castle, the Hyruleans are fighting off Ganon's minions who have occupied the castle, with many of them fleeing when they see Link arrive. Link and Billy head to the royal chamber, reassemble the Triforces of Wisdom and Power, and open the sealed door to the first Princess Zelda. Link places all three Triforces at the altar. They radiate with light and begin to flash. The spell has been broken, and the first Princess Zelda awakens. Zelda stands up, looks at Link, and says to him, "You are not my brother. Where is he?" Link and Zelda exit the chamber. Link tries to explain to Zelda exactly what has happened to her since falling asleep. Zelda is still confused as she doesn't yet realize she's been asleep for centuries. Billy carries the Triforces out of the chamber. One of the royal handmaidens offers to help carry them for Billy, but he refuses. The handmaiden turns and attacks Billy, attempting to steal the Triforces. Link attacks the imposter and demands they show who they really are. The imposter handmaiden is the mysterious leader of Ganon's army. The mask is sliced in half and falls to the floor, revealing his true face. Zelda screams in fear and says, "It's Ganon!" She says that he is her brother's aide, the one who attacked her and put her under the sleeping spell. Link confronts this Ganon and says he can't be the Dark Lord. This Ganon has a human form. This Ganon says that he is indeed as the princess says. Ganon says he has waited centuries to get his hands on the Triforces, and now the day has finally come. He stops and begins to shake and convulse. Blood pours out of Ganon's stomach, and then suddenly a hand reaches out and grabs the Triforce of Courage. A figure emerges, the Dark Lord Ganon. He makes a quick escape, flying through the roof of the castle. Link tells Billy to take Zelda to a safe room. Link equips the magical sword with the Triforces of Wisdom and Power and takes off after Ganon. Billy turns to this Ganon and demands an explanation. This Ganon explains that the allure of the Triforce was too strong. Before he knew it, evil consumed his heart, and the evil that was born from that manifested into the Dark Lord Ganon, who then betrayed him, all in a quest for power. Then this Ganon reaches out his hand, attempts to speak to Zelda, but cannot say more than her name before dying. Billy then realizes he's surrounded as he must fight off even more minions to get Zelda to safety. Meanwhile, above the castle, Link searches for Ganon, demanding he show himself. Ganon, while invisible, attacks with powerful magic. Link uses the power of the cross, forcing Ganon to appear. Ganon sends wave after wave of magic to strike Link, who can defend himself, but must also make sure that the people below are protected too. In the castle, Billy fights his way through, despite his injuries, keeping Zelda safe, getting her to the highest tower in the castle. Ganon takes an axe and begins swinging it wildly. Link can defend, but each miss of the axe by Ganon strikes the mountainside, causing rocks to fall all around the Hyruleans who are watching on. The able-bodied men of Hyrule take to the castle to rid it of Ganon's army. Link is able to shatter Ganon's axe, causing him to retreat slightly. Ganon switches tactics and begins smashing the mountainside, throwing giant boulders at Link to stop him. Link casts the thunder magic, which shatters the rocks. As the pieces fall to the ground, Link jumps on top of the biggest one, drives the magical sword straight through, landing right on top of Ganon. Ganon's body melts away, and all that's left is the Triforce of Wisdom, the Triforce of Power, and the Triforce of Courage. Link then unifies the Triforce. A massive beam of light appears in the center, raising up to the heavens, clearing away the darkness to reveal light. The light destroys the remaining minions of the army and cleanses the lands of Hyrule, restoring peace to the kingdom. Watto flies over to Link. They look over Hyrule, amazed at the miracle of the Triforce. Link, without saying a word, takes the Triforce of Courage and throws it into the lake. Watto asks Link, "Why would you throw the Triforce away?" Link says that this is for the best, that it's the way things must be. A unified Triforce is too dangerous in the wrong hands, so it must be kept separate and hidden so that Hyrule can never be conquered by evil and stand forever. Watto asks Link, what will they do now? Link's only answer is to find a new adventure. At Hyrule Castle, Billy tells Zelda of her legend as she greets the people of Hyrule and ascends the throne. Zelda, the first Zelda, has become princess once again, because Zelda will always be Princess of Hyrule forever.